Trade and people, or rather trade in people. They were the commodity that helped Liverpool become one of the world's great coastal metropolises. Many of Liverpool's buildings were built with profits from the slave trade. It was slavery which began to transform this modest little fishing village into a major port. Reminders of that trade are visible in the very fabric of the city, assuming you know where to look. Eric Lynch has been opening eyes to this particular chapter in our history for over 30 years. Walking around Liverpool today, Eric, there are no signs that I can see of slave trade at all.
That's because you don't use your eyes. If you look at these buildings and you see the symbols, look at the archway there, you'll find that that's a slave ship. That's how the industry starts off. Without the slave trade, these buildings wouldn't be here, and these symbols would not be here either.
Once your eyes are opened, the murky iconography jumps out from all sorts of unlikely places. Faces, cotton plants, whips. In the latter part of the 18th century, 3/4 of all European slave ships left this harbour. One ship every 3 days. Overall, Liverpool traders shipped more than 1.5 million black Africans across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. Then back the ships would come, laden with sugar to sweeten British cups of tea and cotton for our thundering mills. 3,000 miles away, British exported slaves were helping drive an industrial revolution they would never get to see. What were conditions like on the slave ships?
Horrendous. Horrendous. Not only do they have ankle chains, but they are stacked like sardines in what can only be explained as bunk beds without any mattresses. Imagine you are chained up down below. You need to go to the toilet. Whatever you did went through and covered the people underneath. Therefore, you could smell a slave ship long before you ever saw it.
Slaves were never actually traded in Liverpool itself, but made it here as servants, shown off as trophies by their shipping baron masters. Even decades after slavery was abolished in 1807, financial institutions were still unashamed to celebrate the origins of their wealth.
At the top is a grasshopper,
Yep.
which is the trademark of the bank.
Yes.
Then you come to Neptune.
Yep.
Neptune has his hands on the heads of 2 African children. In the hands of the African children, they hold bags which represent the wealth of Africa: gold, diamonds, silver. If you use your eyes correctly, around their ankles and around their wrists, they wear shackles.
I hadn't seen that. They look like bracelets.
But they may look like bracelets, but they're chains.
I don't think if I'd been running into this bank to cash a cheque, I'd have actually noticed either the carving or the meaning behind it. Do you think it's important to be educated in what this carving actually means?
Definitely. I do not want this taken down. I hope that somebody has the sense that when this building is falling apart, these are taken and put in a museum. It's your history, it's my history. You can't brush it aside. We have a right to the knowledge.
Today, it's not people that make up most of Liverpool's commerce, it's cargo.